Hello, my name is Thomas Sint, and this is my friend McLovin, who I will be interviewing for my video presentation. So basically, to get started, I want to tell you a little bit about my paper. I started my final paper about music, and I really love music, just like you're playing right now, a lot, and I love how it's affected me in my life, and I wanted to know kind of how it affected other people and their lives across, the U.S. and the whole world, and so I wrote about like the association between music and psychology and how it affects the human mind. So basically, what I did was I researched kind of a lot of scholarly articles about how music connects to our brain and how it influences like us on a neurological level, and I found out a lot about how it can influence our mood. It can influence our health, like mentally. It can help us with a lot of that. And there's actually a practice called music therapy, which is a professional setting where people use that kind of thing on patients with chronic diseases to help them, as well as just normal people. And that offers a lot of benefits, like in terms of mood, in terms of it helps fight depression, helps fight anxiety, a lot of stuff like that mentally. But in addition, and this was probably the most surprising thing that I learned, it helps physically. It can help like with athletic events. It can help give people a boost in energy to actually perform better, depending on the kind of music they listen to. And it also just helps with intelligence. If you listen to like Mozart 15 minutes before a test, it can boost you intellectually for about the same amount of time that you listen to it. And that's a pretty short-term effect, but it has also been found that it does increase the average intelligence of a person over a long period of time. So I don't know. I thought a lot of those things were interesting, and I kind of incorporated all those things in my paper, and I really liked how it was relatable to me, and it was relatable to my experience with it and how it helped me through a lot of the dark times in my life. So anyway, do you have any questions so far?
No, wait, do you mind if I share a little bit about my relation to music
I
and
suppose
related to your
not.
project?
Sure, go ahead.
You're supposed to not?
I suppose I don't mind.
Oh, okay. I've also found in my life that in dark times I've been heavily affected by music, so much so it's actually changed the way I talk. I don't know if you've noticed, but I talk like a certain artist a lot of the time, and the way I talk, like the way a certain artist sings, I sing that way too, and it's affected my performance because I've become acclimated to getting used to that. And I was wondering if you had an opinion on how it affects my day to day.
Oh yeah, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about how it like influences you gradually. Because if you listen to something over the same thing over a long period of time consistently, you'll become greatly affected by that on a mental level. Because it will, it definitely has not just a conscious effect, like I was talking about earlier, but also a subconscious effect that will lead you to lead a lifestyle more parallels the things that you listen to. That can be like for the artist specifically. It can also just be for the genre of music. It can just kind of influence your personality, whether you notice it or not, over a gradual period of years or even decades. That's what a lot of the studies have shown that I've looked into.
That's really cool. I think that's really interesting. You said I had any questions you'd like to express them. I actually do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Have you found in your personal existence as an individual that music has helped you get more pumped up or excited or ready to do something? Because I'm aware that, for example, the Sierra High football team plays California Girls before and after every game. I don't know about before, but I know they do after every game, and because it gets them hyped and excited and pumped up. And I was wondering if you've experienced anything like that yourself.
Oh yeah, I certainly, when I'm faced with a lot of like deadlines, I'll listen to a lot of my favorite artists to kind of make make myself feel a little better and make myself more. Honestly, a lot of the time I do it to kind of relax myself and relax my nerves, as many people do, whether they realize it or not, that it has that effect. But in terms of getting pumped up, yeah, I do have like a lot of more heavier stuff that I listen to for that. That kind of just makes me feel like I'm pretty great, and that things you do ultimately will not really affect you as much as you think that they will in the given moment. So when I listen to things like that, a great example would be the song Beach Life and Death by Car Seat Headrest. It's a epic saga of somebody's life and a lot of experiences they have, and it's kind of like it shows a very broad perspective, rather than most songs, which just show kind of like a narrow, like a very specific subject, and it kind of just takes me out of the moment, and it's like, wow, what I'm doing here may contribute, no matter how important it is, it may contribute to what I have going forward, but ultimately it's just a very small fragment of my life, and it's just one of those things that you kind of get in your head a little too much about, and music can kind of help you to reshape your perspective in that regard.
Yeah, I'm aware that Beach Life and Death is a big one for me as well.
I would say.
Yeah, crazy. What a weird coincidence. But I've also found that when I get in a funk, certain songs that I feel I actually postpone listening until I need them. For example, the song my senior quote is from, which is called Keep On Chugglin', not by CCR, is a big song for that. In fact, that song has gotten me out of some of the hardest points of my life, so I use it whenever I'm feeling down in the dumps, because it's kind of like a hit of like get back up,
Yeah.
So that's a big one I found is that song right there is a kind of a kick to get back up. So I imagine that's something similar to it.
Oh yeah, of course. Actually, funnily enough, that kind of has to do with the first research paper I wrote for my English 1A class, which has to do with kind of postponing engaging with a piece of art until you feel like it's necessary. But in that, I kind of wrote that the problem there lied with, if you postpone it too much, you can kind of lose the time that you would have had to connect with it in a certain part of your life. And I definitely felt like certain artists came into my life, or I discovered them at a point where I really needed them, especially this year. And that was a lot of the inspiration I had to write the paper that I did for this my final project. So, anywho, do you have any more questions?
I don't think so.
All right then.
I think you informed me of everything I needed to know, and everything I wanted to know, and I really appreciate that. You did a very good job.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Do you have any questions for me? Because I'm your interviewee, the person you're interviewing.
Well, it's not an interview, but no, I don't think so. Do you like is the concept that I discussed for my paper something that you might pursue, like in something you might research?
Perhaps it is. I haven't ever really considered it. I know I've felt the effects in my own life, as I mentioned earlier, but I never really considered writing a paper on it, because I never really wanted to. But I may consider writing a paper on it one day, because I have a friend who has put a lot of research into the topic, and I will definitely not just copy his notes.
No, of course not.
That would be atrocious.
I would never allow that.
Yeah, especially if you found out who that friend was. You'd hunt him down and you'd be like, no.
All right then. Well, thank you for your time. All right.